When you allow for those time constraints to be lifted from your manifestations, they flow in when you least expect it. Hey, it's Leleglamxo and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to touch on this topic because once you master this skill, your manifestation, the abundance, the dream job, the lover will come flowing in. So if you want to learn about what this skill is and how you can apply it to your life, stay tuned. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. The number one thing you need to master in manifestation is the art of detachment. Okay, so when you say the art of detachment, you're thinking, how can I detach from my manifestation? How can I detach from what I truly want? I'm constantly thinking about it. I'm constantly willing it into existence. I'm constantly working towards this. Like, I don't understand why you're expecting me to just forget about it or be detached, aloof. And when you are manifesting, you are literally telling your subconscious, okay, you're telling your subconscious what you want, and your subconscious mind will bring it into fruition. But if you constantly are begging for this thing, you're constantly thinking about it, you're constantly perpetuating some type of narrative in your mind as to why it's not showing up as quickly as it should and how it's not happening. Now you're telling your subconsciousness that, oh, you don't want this. Oh, or maybe you already have it and you don't need it right now. And it's telling the wrong message because you're coming from a place of lack. When you come from a place of lack, it's very hard for you to bring in what you want. When I say coming from a place of lack, I want you to take, for example, somebody who is like, let's say there's a really beautiful woman, right? And a guy is trying to date her and he's blowing up her phone. He's texting her nonstop. He's buying her nice things. And you know, this all sounds fine and dandy, but she probably has so many other people doing the same thing and she is bored of it. She's not really impressed. It's actually kind of becoming kind of creepy. But it's because he has not mastered the art of detachment. So if he had an approach where he was, you know, just a gentleman, you know, no pressure, okay, no pressure. Whatever will happen will happen. You know, they go on a nice date and then maybe they will work out, maybe it won't. When you don't attach too much to the end state and you just, you know, okay, well, if this works out, that's great. If it doesn't, there's plenty of other options. Because what's happening is you're forcing the universe, you're forcing your manifestations to come in one way. And it can come in a multitude of different ways. It can come in from all different forms. So when you're forcing it into, like, let's talk about Legos or those little blocks that kids play with the, you know, the circle into the square. You know, you have a circle block and you're trying to put it into the square. It may fit a little bit, but if you allow for it to be a big open hole, you can fit anything in there. Now you have a bucket, you can fit anything in there. So that allows for your manifestations to flow in all different forms, shapes, and sizes. Okay, so allowing your manifestations to flow in with the art of detachment allows for just about anything to flow in. Example, I had been travel nursing for quite some time. I've been a nurse for quite some time. I'm still a nurse. I was looking to pivot and I was in a place where I just was travel nursing. I was super burnt out, super exhausted, and didn't know how I was going to scale back from this thing. So my partner, my boyfriend, he was like, you know what? How about you look into working from home? So I applied and I applied and I applied and I had so much like resistance. I'm like, oh my God, like when I get these nursing jobs, I get them right away. Why isn't this happening right away? And I kept applying, but I was very discouraged. Then I reached out to a really good friend and she also advised me that, you know, it's gonna happen, just chill. And I did that. I was like, you know what, whether it happens or not, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, I was already lining up other options, right? Because you don't know how it's gonna flow in. So if you already are focusing your energy on something else, you're allowing for other options to come in. And when it actually happens, you're like, oh, because you allowed the universe bring your manifestation in the way that it was fit for this particular timeline in your life. You can't force it. You cannot force it. There's another very important point I need to bring up, and it's to be careful during the time of manifestation. Make sure that you're manifesting from a place of happiness, I'm not trying to talk about like toxic positivity where you ignore all of the problems and you ignore everything that could possibly go wrong, not be responsible human being. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when you're vibrating at a very low frequency, maybe you're suffering from depression, maybe you're suffering from past traumas, maybe you're suffering from a multitude of different things, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you to get to that higher frequency. Because what you're manifesting is on a frequency that may be above where I hope it's above. I hope you're manifesting things that are above your frequency and not so much the lower frequency. So when you're manifesting things that are abundant, okay, they're on a higher timeline. So if your frequency is here and you're manifesting at this frequency and you're sad, you're depressed, you're like, oh my God, nothing is working out for me, things of that nature, and you're not taking massive action, it's going to be very difficult for you to reach to this frequency. Okay, so this frequency requires work. Okay, so yes, people think you can will things from like the thin air, but this is literally you taking massive action. Okay, so if you want to have a number one YouTube channel, you need to make content, you need to make videos. You can't just will videos into existence. You actually, or unless you're paying for them or paying somebody to do the work for you, you actually have to put the work in. The work needs to be done. The work needs to be done, and the work needs to be done on you. You need to also be working on your shadow side, your shadow works, past traumas that you've never dealt with. If you have those negative self-talks that continue to perpetuate in your mind, these are things that are going to keep you on this lower frequency. So it's going to be even more difficult for you to arrive to this higher timeline. Okay, so these are all a part of manifestation. So you need to make sure that this is all being taken care of in the process of allowing your manifestations to come in. So yes, you master the art of detachment, but you're also going to make sure that you're raising your frequency in the process. And by raising your frequency, you're dealing with your past traumas, you're dealing with any struggles that you may be having in the present tense, and you're taking massive action. Okay, massive action needs to be done. You can't just will things into existence. I know you see a lot of videos about this, but you cannot just literally will things into existence. You need to be taking massive action. If you want to have a healthy, thriving relationship, you need to take massive action daily. You have to show your partner that you love them. They're also doing the same, hopefully, if you're in a healthy, thriving relationship. Work that's getting put in. And this applies to absolutely anything that you want in your life. So let's say we're coming from a place where you're trying to attract love. You need to be taking the time out of every single day to pour into yourself, pour into the love that you have for yourself. Because when you take the time to properly love yourself, raise your frequency, you do your meditation, your prayer, all of that stuff, you start to glow from within. You become more attractive to just about everybody. But during the process of you healing and the process of you showing yourself self-love, you allow for that partner to come in, because now you're pretty much whole, and now your partner comes in and you guys are both whole together. If you want love, you actually have to love yourself. You have to actually take the time to show yourself self-love on a daily basis, okay? And this needs to be a muscle that's exercised, and that all correlates with the art of detachment. Okay, so while you're pouring into yourself, into your cup daily, you're filling your cup up, you're so focused on doing that, you're not really thinking about when that love will come in, right? You're not really thinking about that. That's not on the forefront of your mind. But while you're doing so, that's what you're manifesting, right? Because if you are in a space where you want a love, that is how you bring the love into your life. So we talked about the art of detachment. We talked about how you could have to let go in order to allow for your manifestations to flow in any which way that it can flow in, because when you force it, it's really hard for those manifestations to come in different ways, because it may not show up exactly the way you want. It may not come in the same exact timeline you're expecting it, but just know that it's going to happen in this lifetime. When you allow for those time constraints to be lifted from your manifestations, they flow in when you least expect it. So that's basically the gist of this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will keep these videos coming. I do have a book that is all about self-mastery. It's the Self-Mastery Blueprint, Unlocking Your Potential and Living Your Best Life. I'm just gonna give you a quick little excerpt so you could just have an idea as to what we touch on in this book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it the hard copy, which is what I have here, or if you're a Kindle reader, you can get it on Kindle Direct. So one of the things that whenever you're also manifesting, because you're keeping that vibration high, is to stop comparing, right? Because when you compare, that's a thief of your happiness. Don't make comparisons. You have a tendency to compare yourself to others and believe that you are not their equal. When you compare yourself to someone, your confidence is damaged and you end up feeling inferior. If you keep comparing yourself to others, you will focus all of your energy on the qualities that you do not have. Everyone has flaws and weaknesses, but also virtues that make you unique and valuable. Okay, so when you focus on your special talents, your special gift, you keep your frequency high, you keep your vibration high, and your manifestations flow in. I want to thank you so much for watching. Comment down below any topics you want me to touch on when it comes to metaphysics, because that is something that I love. It's my passion. I know it's a trend now. I've been on this journey for quite some time. I just didn't know what it was back then. Those dream boards and the subject matters of that's actually how I started manifestation and all my manifestation journey. Maybe the next video I'll talk about is like my manifestation success story and just the different things that I've brought into my life just from simply manifesting, but obviously taking massive action. I want to thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. Peace. All in my phone, I got options, and I don't want to tell you to drop it.